Drinking the Kool-Aid. This is a comedy podcast dedicated to the mysterious. My name is Cassidy.
My name's Amanda.
Sorry if I'm red in the face. I have been talking a million miles a minute.
We have been hanging out for the last 3 hours.
And we got 45 minutes worth of recording done.
Yes, we have just been yapping.
Yeah.
As we do.
I do love to yap. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah. So now we're here.
We hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving and Indigenous Peoples Day.
Absolutely.
We love that for you.
We do.
I was so happy the day after Thanksgiving. I literally cried. So
you did?
Yeah, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. It's just like all these people that I love and that love me back were all together, and it just made me really happy.
It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah. Because I know I'm not an easy person to love. But, it's like nice to know that there are some people out there that like are ride or dies. It's a good feeling.
Absolutely. I also got so insanely full that I was in pain, physical pain.
She didn't even eat that much. It was very confusing. She did also wear shapewear to Thanksgiving though, which is absolutely unhinged behavior. Why would you do that?
I wear shapewear literally every single day under every single outfit, and I never have a problem eating. I don't know what the fuck happened to me. I was so full. I was like laying on the ground for like 2 days later too. I was still so full. Like
she was laying on the ground, and my sister-in-law or my ex-sister-in-law, also named Amanda, was giving her little head scratchies to make her feel better.
She rubbed my temples.
Yeah.
It felt so good.
She's a mom, dude. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. I mean, all 5 of her children were literally there with us, so.
Got to hang out with my triplet nieces.
Mm-hmm.
Love those little ladies. I did realize I cuss a lot more than I realize. There's nothing like being around a child that makes you realize that like you have the filthiest mouth.
I also heard a lot of like, oh fuck, frick,
crud. And like Amanda's like, they know what curse words are. It's fine. Because like, I just grew up so conservative, right? That like the idea of an adult cussing around me was like unheard of. And so that's how I'm like, oh no, I can't cuss around the kids. And then like I realized kids have the internet now.
Yeah. And also like, I think the important thing, like being a parent, is teaching your kids to not say those words, right? Like they're gonna hear them.
Yeah,
you just got to make sure that they know, okay, this is the word you're not allowed to say,
well, and I've talked to people whose parents weren't super strict about cussing, but they were like, there's a time. They like taught their kids like there's a time and a place.
Correct.
And so like you can't be going to school and saying this like to your teacher or saying it to an adult or like saying like fuck you or anything, right? But like if you stub your toe and you say shit, that's fine at home, And I think that's actually really interesting because a lot of those friends that I've had have said to me like, yeah, I never had like the desire to cuss at school because it wasn't like a taboo thing. Like if I was frustrated at home, I could just cuss.
Right.
And like, meanwhile, it was like, I was like losing my mind when I was in 7th grade because people were like singing song lyrics with curse words. And I was like, oh, because I'd never said a curse word in my entire life.
When I was 13 years old, I forced my parents to take me to see Spring Awakening on Broadway.
Oh, the sex one.
Yeah. And they have a song in the show that's called Totally Fucked.
Ah.
And my dad the whole time was like, what are we watching? Where are we? This is crazy.
That's your mom's fault. She should have said this isn't a me, Amanda.
Oh yeah. And my mom was just like, Jerry, it's fine.
Jerry, it's the 2000s. Things are different now.
Things are different. This is how people behave. Shut up and sit there. But then at the end of the show, my dad's all, oh, that was pretty good. I'm like, oh, okay.
Now you get it.
Yelling at me the whole time.
Yeah.
He was trying to cover my eyes during the simulated sex scene.
Well, I mean, you were 13.
And I had my guardians there. It was PG-13.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, it's weird being around kids. And then like, if you've been a long time listener, you will remember my nephew Cashin sending in a voice memo.
Oh my gosh.
So long ago. And he had his little boy voice.
He did.
And he was telling a story. And now he's like a teenager and it's so freaky.
That had to have been almost 5 years ago.
Yes.
Holy
literally.
Shit.
Yeah, because it was like a couple episodes in. Like it was probably in our first 10 episodes.
Oh my. wow. The
Yeah.
fact that we've been even doing this for almost 5 years is
I know.
crazy.
Yeah, because he's a teenager now.
And like
so-
that time between when you're like 9, 8, 9.
Yeah, he had to been
when,
like 8, I think. Yeah.
To when you're a teenager, I feel like goes by so fast.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, so it was fun. So got to see all my nephews and nieces. Not all of them. I have some more out of state. And who were all over the place for thanks. I have so many nephews and nieces. I'm like counting now in my head. I'm like, I have like 20 of them now that I realize. Because there were some new additions. There were some new additions recently. Some adopted additions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so many. Just so many of them.
I do too through marriage.
That's true. But they're all like your age.
No, they're not.
I thought they were all like in their 20s.
Oh no, that's my family.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying my husband's family.
Your husband's family. Sorry. Yeah.
No, my nieces are my age. Literally, one is 1 year younger than me, and one is 1 year older than me.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about.
But my husband's family, they have, I think we have 16 nieces and nephews.
That's what happens when you have a lot of, and your husband and I both have 5 siblings.
Yeah.
So you start racking them up, man. Especially when it's Christian people.
Mm-hmm.
They love to procreate.
Yes, they do.
They be procreating.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like scared to add our own children in there because it's just going to go up to like 20.
It's
and that's
too
just
many.
too many. I thought it was too many when they hit like 8.
The pioneers would have been so proud of you. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's so funny being around my nephews because they're still babies in my head, but they're like teenagers now, like in high school.
Oh my gosh.
Junior high and stuff. And
Cassidy did say the most old person embarrassing thing.
which one? Because I said a few.
The one that really stuck out to me was when you were talking to your 15-year-old nephew at Treyu, and you were like, we were once 15.
I was 15 once.
And I was like, I literally looked over and I said, you did not just say we were once your age.
Yes, I did. And then I think I actively said, remember that when you're my age.
You did say that.
Yeah.
And then you proceeded to remind him that last year I said, wow, you're so handsome.
You should be on the cover of Vogue. That's what she told him.
Like, I don't
know. Last time I saw you also did last time I saw you, you were this big.
I did. And I feel like I really went into like my New York accent that
you
I haven't
did. You
had
became
in,
your
like,
mother.
I did.
You immediately
I immediately started developing this accent that I haven't had in like a decade. And I was like, oh my God, when last time I saw you, you were this big?
Yeah, literally.
You were this big.
I was like, who is this?
You look like you should be on the cover of Vogue.
You should be on the cover of Vogue. You're so handsome. You look just like I kept going. You look like that little kid from Stranger Things.
You did. I don't know how this happened. I don't know when we became
all of a sudden
people.
you're somebody's weird old aunt.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like out of nowhere. Nobody warns you.
I don't know how it happened.
And then the next thing that you know, you're somebody's weird aunt.
It really didn't hit me until I was sitting next to you on the couch and you said that. And I was like, oh no. Yeah. I said, Cassidy's doing it now? Like, it was one thing when I did it because I'm just weird. But then you started doing it.
Well, but also like all of even your nephews and nieces by marriage, they're all little kids still.
Mm-hmm.
So like, don't worry, you're also going to be that weird aunt to them, but you're going to be like 40, 45.
I know.
Right?
I mean, so the oldest nieces are, one of them just turned 18. And when I met her, she was 8.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know. Like, that's insane.
Because there's something about like talking to like a child that you can like, there's some leeway. Like you can figure it out. Like they probably won't even remember it. You know what I mean? Like it's all just shapes and noises.
Yeah.
But then like talking to like a teenager, you're like, ah, shit. Like everything I do to them now is either going to traumatize them or they're going to remember it for the rest of their lives.
Also, it's so weird because like,
and we interact like 3 times a year. So like these are literally your only memories of
me. And like, it's so weird when you are an adult. I want to say when you turn like 20, right? And then you kind of like are really taking things in and you're able to like figure, like, I don't know, just function differently, right?
You're coming up with your own opinions and ideas. And
So when I met my husband's family, I was 22, right? 22, 23. And that's when I met all these nieces and nephews and a bunch of them started being born and all this stuff. But the 2 older ones who I have literally known since they were 8 and 5, and the other one that was literally 1 when I joined the family, they all look at me like I'm part of their family.
You're all they know.
I know. And I'm like, that is so crazy because I lived a whole life before I even knew Sam.
Yeah. But think about like the one that's 18. Like she's almost your age when you met Sam.
Oh my God, stop.
Like that's what's
Ew,
weird.
You're giving me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh God, think about what they're gonna be up to. Think about what you were up to.
I don't want to.
See, that's why I know
wanna.
I could never be a parent, because the idea of that like makes me want to throw up.
Me just getting drunk underage and almost dying 100 times.
Nightly, almost dying.
So many times.
We're so blessed to be here.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry.
This is just another thing my mom's gonna call me about after listening to the podcast and be like, what do you mean you were almost dying every night? What does that mean?
Well, we're at least on YouTube this week, so she can find us.
That's true. She was in a panic last week.
Yeah.
About not being on YouTube.
Oh, guys, I have something that you probably need to know.
Oh no.
The Wicked book is not like the Wicked musical. And I have talked to probably a good solid 8 people about this. And every single time they're either like, oh, really? And what's different? And then I start explaining the book and they're like, oh God, that is not the movie. Or they're like, yeah, I tried to read that book when I was 12 and holy moly, I should not have been allowed to get that when I was 12.
Yeah. So Cassidy,
can I get in my defense? In my defense, I was trying to be a good friend.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I have now seen the movie 3 times.
And I was like, I know I'm not going to like the movie.
No, you won't.
I don't like either of those actresses. I don't really care for musicals in general.
Right.
But I love Amanda. And so I was trying to be a supportive wife and partner. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do? What do I like to do? I like to read. I'm going to read the book. And for the record, when you get the book now, right, the cover of the book has Ariana Grande and
Cynthia,
how is it pronounced, her last name?
Erivo
on it.
Very misleading.
And so I'm thinking, see, this is us bridging the gap.
Yeah.
Us touching our little fingers. I'm thinking,
you're holding my one finger.
I'm holding your finger when I tell you this.
You are.
That I bought this and I thought, this is gonna bring me and Amanda even closer together than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best decision I ever made. And look at them on the cover. So it must be the same. But the fun part about reading is you get to just make up whoever in your head are these people.
Right.
I don't have to look at Ariana Grande and be like, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like, once again, I actually don't want you to watch the movie because I know you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid. I know you're not going to like it. But Cassidy did excitedly tell me, I'm reading the Wicked book. And I was like, oh.
I was so excited to tell you.
Which I've never read the book, but I knew it wasn't the same. Like, I knew there was a lot of differences.
I just figured, I mean, I get it. Like, my favorite book is Lord of the Rings, and it's also my favorite movie. And yes, there are many differences. There's characters that are different, but like fundamentally, it's the same vibe.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. This is not.
The story is there for them. There's some things that are different for sure. The story's there. The vibe, though.
Yeah. I think
seems to be drastically different.
I think you sent in the group chat a text the other day that just said, oh, the first scene of this book, there's an incestual relationship where this guy has 2 penises.
2.
And he has sex with a mom and a daughter, and then the mom ends up committing suicide. And I was like, whoa.
And it was an implied suicide. They said she was never heard from again, but you get it, kind of basically is what they said.
And then I wake up to this text message at 4 a.m.
I ended that text with, so I'm confused what these bitches are singing about. Because it is confusing.
And then I wake up at 4 a.m. I read this text, and I'm like, oh my God, that is not in the musical at all. So I try to go down a rabbit hole now about the differences between the book and the movie, and I start to just plummet. I'm awake for 2 hours looking this up.
Luckily, at this point, I'm asleep.
Yeah, trying to text Cassidy about the musical and how that is not at all involved in the show.
The general vibe, the vibe is wrong. The storyline seems to be like a watered down version of the book, because the book is like very, very clearly like an allegory for fascism, right?
Yes.
Like, and
which is so the musical is too.
Yes,
yeah.
But like in a
whimsical way.
Yeah, somehow they're like, but if it's like if we're making fun of Hitler, but it's fun,
right?
But like the book is like, we're making fun of Hitler and it's not fun at all.
Correct.
Actually, it's really bad,
Yeah.
and also there's a tiger that's licking women's pussies at a brothel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They all do that at a brothel. Bach's involved. His name's Bach with a Q with no U after
Bach.
it.
That's the character in the musical.
No, it's all the same characters.
Yeah.
They're just fucking a lot more in the book.
Yeah, well,
they're fucking like crazy.
Isn't there like a really intense sex scene between Fiyero and Elphaba?
Yes, and Fiyero is married and has like a couple kids.
Oh,
so the love triangle is apparently shifted.
It's like a square.
Galinda's not involved at all.
Oh wow. Okay.
Bach's trying to get at her.
Yeah. Bach is trying to get at her.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta.
Sorry.
Keep your hands to yourself.
I keep on hitting that with my nail for some reason. I'm getting too excited.
You do have very long nails right now.
I do.
They're longer than normal. That might be why. I like them though. They're nice.
Thank you so much.
I like when you do the velvet ones.
Me too. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely your sign if you are a parent and you have like a 10-year-old daughter who's like, I want to read the book now. I mean, I'm not saying they can't. Like, I read some really questionable books when I was a kid. But just be aware that it is different.
I
than
also,
the movie.
though, like the first part of the movie is very much like the first. You know what? The first part of the first part even is more like silly and whimsical, and there's a lot more like laughter and stuff. And then the second half of the first part starts to get more into the dark stuff.
Yeah.
And the whole second part is very dark. So all these children are seeing this movie, and I'm like, it is not a kid's movie.
Yeah, but that's a problem when you make things into musicals. People get confused.
Because the musicals, it's not for children. It's the second half is very dark and very sad.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, it's the branding, right? Because it looks like it's a Disney movie.
Correct.
Which I get.
I think it's the colors and
it's like that's
music.
how musicals are, right? They add like a layer of whimsy to things, I suppose.
I do think it's something that maybe should have been more like talked about. Like, this is not a funny, good time.
I guess I didn't watch a lot of the interviews, but did they not talk at all about how the movie is about a fascist dictator rising to power?
No, of course not. That's not going to be something that they talk about.
That's like pretty politically relevant. Like,
no, I know.
It is very bizarre that they don't discuss that like at all. Really,
they really don't.
Any of the.
I think most of the, from what I saw at least, a lot of the people that don't know Wicked, they think this show is about friendship, which it is. But it's very much about government and racism.
Yeah.
And like it has a lot of very prominent things about it.
Yeah,
that
I would say
not...
the book is like very clearly about the rise of fascism.
Yeah.
And I think it was written in the 80s or 90s, the book. I looked it up last night.
I just looked it up. It was 95, I think.
95. Yeah. So, like, it's very clearly about, like, the rise of fascism and how you can other people, which that's the whole plot of, I'm not even spoiling anything.
That's the whole plot.
Is that the Wiz, the Wizard of Oz, he is trying to other the talking animals and trying to say, like, they're actually, like, inherently dirty and gross and bad, and we need to subject them to basically slave labor and take them out of society as a whole and silence them. And because the economic situation in Oz is so poor, which I don't know if this is a part of the musical, but in the book, that's the economic situation in Oz, in Munchkinland, in all these places is so poor that people are looking for any sort of scapegoat. Is this sounding familiar to any meteoric rise of power from any charismatic figurehead that you can put your finger on over the last 200 years? There's quite a few.
In the musical, the wizard quite literally says, everyone needs to have an enemy to come together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I do hope if all of you are watching this is the highest grossing musical adaptation that's ever happened. I think a lot of people need to learn a lot about fascism, and I hope that's getting into your thick skulls out there.
I feel like if you watch this movie and you resonate with it at all, and you have the feelings, because I've seen it 3 times now, and every time, you know, I leave just being like, I have so many emotions.
Yeah.
I feel like if you haven't any emotions at all, then you have to understand the
I don't know,
message.
man. So many people watched fucking 4 movies of the Hunger Games and resonated so much with Katniss and the Uprising, and then they still side with the oppressors.
You're right.
I don't really expect people to understand their feelings outside of capitalism.
I do have to say, though, it makes me happy that we have even though it's like a little different because you're just reading the book, we can kind of discuss
This was my
it.
goal.
It's nice. I
This
like
was my
it.
goal.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad.
Also, after like I've been watching a lot of the interviews now with Jonathan Bailey and holy shit, what the fuck is his name?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. I am convinced that they are having a secret relationship.
Oh, that would not surprise me.
There's no way.
Jeff Goldblum's one of those guys that for sure doesn't care about what your genitals are up to if he wants to.
Have you
if he
seen
likes
them in the interviews?
Just the one you sent me.
They have some insane chemistry.
Some chemistry
I don't
happening
know.
there?
I am pretty convinced that there's something going on
All
there.
right.
And I am here for it.
Okay, I dig it. Yeah, no, Jeff Goldblum doesn't seem like the type of person that would say no to anybody that's sexy.
No, Jeff Goldblum is the kind of guy that's just like, you know what?
He's such a Samantha.
Here. Yeah, I'm here. You're here. You're hot. I'm hot.
Yeah.
Let's party.
Why would we not?
Yeah. And Jonathan Bailey is very hot. So
I saw a tweet the other day that I thought was really funny, and I almost sent it to you, and then I was like, no, this would be funnier to tell her in person. And it said, Jonathan Bailey is what Ryan Reynolds wishes he was.
100%.
Like effortlessly charming, funny, but in like just such a nondescript, I'm not even trying very hard way. Buff, handsome,
so
great
hot.
jawline, heartthrob.
And he's so talented. Oh my gosh. He can
can do it all. Triple threat, right?
He can sing. He can dance. He can act. He's so hot. Like, ugh.
He was in what was the other
he was in Bridgerton.
Bridgerton, that's right.
He was doing Bridgerton, Wicked, and something else all in the same year.
Can I tell you something?
Tell me.
Okay, the horse that he rides
Yes.
in Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Same horse from Bridgerton.
Yes, I knew that.
Him and that horse are best friends.
Yeah,
Did you know
yeah.
that? He's like done interviews about it.
I love it. I love Jonathan
horses
Bailey
so much. I don't know anything about this man. Sorry. Different vibes.
I love horses so much.
I mean, he seems really wonderful too.
I love that man. I literally love that man. And I honestly, I'm really happy that he's gay because I don't want I don't want like straight guys are just
the look on your face. Straight guys.
Straight guys are just gross, And he doesn't have to be subjected to that. And I love that.
Yeah, you don't have to like make excuses for like when you find out what he did to his wife. Like you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be like, well, yeah, he left his wife the second he got famous and abandoned their
Ariana
children.
Grande.
Yeah, and abandoned their children. Like, yeah. Well, I didn't know. Cynthia is a homewrecker too.
She is.
They're just two homewreckers. No wonder they're so mind meld.
No wonder they're holding each other's fingers in interviews.
Like, I also love to destroy a loving relationship. I saw the cracks and I said, I'm going to put acid in them. I don't care if there's a baby involved. It's not my baby.
It's not my business. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, Ariana did hold that baby though. That is the part where I'm like, girl.
Yeah,
like,
this
don't
is
get me
where
wrong.
I separate the talent.
He's the problem. Like, obviously, he's the one who was married. So, like,
you know, I discovered, or
what?
me and Kate actually discussed this when we watched Wicked the first time. Ariana Grande is having this relationship in this movie with Jonathan Bailey, who is a gay man. He is the most perfect looking person ever. She's kissing him, but he's gay. She can't have him. So she looks over her shoulder.
She was all horned up.
She looks over her shoulder. She sees SpongeBob SquarePants.
And she says, I could maybe work with this.
She says, you know what? I think this will do. She says, that'll do, pig. That'll do.
She got all horned up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on a Sunday.
And then she was like, well, I got to get down with something. I'm in a foreign country because weren't they in London or whatever?
Something. I don't know.
They were in a foreign country, all horned up. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Honestly, her pussy was probably wet from Jonathan Bailey. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Because
she got all
so
horned up.
Hot. And she's like, well, he doesn't want to fuck me.
Yeah.
So like, SpongeBob's going to fuck me.
I have no other choices
and
here.
then SpongeBob's over there like, yeah, I'm married, but like, you're Ariana Grande.
What's the SpongeBob laugh? Is that him?
That was terrifying.
Was that him?
A little.
I don't remember.
I was going to try and then I gave up because I got scared.
Whatever. I saw a picture or a video of him falling down walking into the premiere of his own movie. And I said, good. You deserve that. I hope your wife paid a witch on Etsy like $15 to make that happen.
Ooh, maybe she paid Giselle Bundchen.
Okay, if I'm gonna pay a witch on Etsy, it better be Giselle Bundchen.
Better be. Because you know that she has powers. Like, look what she did to Tom Brady.
Sorry. She 100%. I have never been more convinced that somebody is a witch than Giselle Bundchen. You cannot convince me otherwise. And I just bow down. I bow down at the beauty of her.
No, abso-fucking-lutely. It sucks that I know you won't like it. That's why I'm not going to tell you to watch it.
No, I know. And then I had somebody last night tell me that they thought that I would like the stage version probably better than the film version. And then
I don't think you will.
My other friend, she was like, I think you should just watch it. And I was like, the problem is, what will I do?
No, because I'll fight you.
Yeah, it'll just make everyone mad at me. I don't want to do that. It'll just make everyone mad at me.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get into a fight about it.
Yeah, and like it's not worth it.
So it's honestly better that you just read the book and we can talk about it like this.
Yeah, and I can be like, well, no puppet with two dicks. I can't be into that.
Exactly.
I need at least one puppet, double dick,
puppet.
Then maybe I can get into a musical. Anyway, stream Jesus Christ Superstar.
The only musical Cassidy likes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, like I don't even like biopics about musicians.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Like I don't like any of. I think the only
They're
one
bad. All of them are bad.
I think the only one I've ever really liked is the Johnny Cash one. Walk the Line.
Oh, Walk the Line. I was thinking Walk Hard.
Well, Walk Hard
is parody of that.
Walk Hard is also funny. Anything with John C. Reilly.
Yeah, no, I don't like any. I can't even think of a single biopic that I actually really, really, really liked.
I just don't like them. I think they're bad, and it always is like for some reason they always hire like some actor who is just too recognizable, and then you're like,
you can't.
I'm just watching
it.
Rami Malek like try to be Freddie Mercury.
Right. Oh,
like,
I heard that was so bad.
I heard it was really bad too. I've only ever seen clips of it. And the clips are bad, and also apparently they just like totally washed out his queerness, which sucks because that's like literally his whole thing.
Yeah. Why would they do that?
Because people are afraid of gay people, which is insane to me. If you're afraid of gay people, you can turn this off right now.
Even Fiyero in Wicked is totally bisexual.
See?
And they make it very obvious.
See?
So
he's waving a flag. How about we welcome our new cool kids?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, you little wicked heads.
You wicked cool kids.
I feel like this is the Venn diagram of our two, right? And it's people,
okay, there's two circles,
and then they have the little middle thing. Venn diagram. They have their little pussy in the middle.
Stop. We've said pussy more in this episode than we've ever said it before.
I know. And so many people just told me they're going to start listening to the podcast. I'm sorry, you guys.
No.
This is what it's like to.
Why did you do that?
This is what it's like to be around me. Remember at the beginning when I said it's hard to love me, and then I'm aware of it. Once again.
Damn it.
Okay. So one of the circles is from people who watch From.
Yes.
One of the circles is people who watch Wicked.
Okay.
And the middle is people who listen to Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Perfect.
That if that intersects, that's us right there.
I feel like we should do a different thing than From, because From is kind of niche.
Well, I know, but
and
that's
I
the
like
thing.
From too.
When I mentioned From, 8,000 every single person who's ever listened to this podcast messaged me.
No, I know.
And was like, oh my God, nobody watches From but me. And I was like, I think, well, here you guys all are. You can talk about it.
Yeah, maybe
right
we're just really niche.
We're really
our podcast is niche.
Clearly, that's why we're so poor. If we were less niche, maybe we would have money.
You're right. Anyway, people that do give us money.
Thank you. The reason we get to keep doing this podcast is because of our patrons, and we totally dig you guys. I wanted to say welcome to Britt.
Hello, Britt.
Welcome to Laura C.
Hello, Laura.
Welcome to Savannah H.
Hello, Savannah.
And thank you to Erica, who edited their membership up so they could get that sweet, sweet video content.
Hell yes, baby.
We totally dig you guys. One of the only reasons we get to keep doing this podcast is because of you. And if you cannot afford to join Patreon right now, which we totally understand, it's a holiday season, everything's crazy town, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen. That makes a huge difference. And we just are so happy that you're here, even just listening.
We are very
to us
happy.
Right now just makes us so happy.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. But just remember, if you're looking for any sort of gifts for your DTK loving friends, or if your mom or your aunt who doesn't know you that well or whatever asks like, what do you want for Christmas? And you're not sure, remember that you can get a Patreon subscription for the whole year as a gift. They gift them now. Or you can head over to our merch shop and get a nice comfy sweater. You can get a crew neck. You can get a t-shirt. You can get a hat. We got all sorts of cute stuff over there. So go check it out.
That's right.
And you can find all of that at dtkpod.com/support. Well, then how about we get started?
Let's get started.
Woohoo!
All
Okay.
right, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to be talking about something that if you are a cool kid, you probably already know at least a little bit about. And it's something that I've heard about like forever. We're going to be talking about zombies in Haiti.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing over there? Oh, yeah. Okay. This is good.
Zombies in Haiti.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So my sources today were a New York Times article by Farah Nairi, a book called The Serpent and the Rainbow by Wade Davis, Harvard Magazine's The Secret of Haiti's Living Dead, and also Wikipedia.
Haiti's Living Dead.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm so glad you've never heard of this because your jaw is going to be on the floor.
Oh, and zombie stuff really freaks me out. So,
Okay, so it's 1980,
okay.
and there is a woman. Her name is Angelina Narcissus. She's at a market in L'Estre, Haiti. She's bopping around. She's picking up some groceries. She's buying her home essentials when a man approaches her. She is very shocked when this man tells her that this is her brother, Clairvius Narcissi, who she hadn't seen in over 18 years.
Okay.
Yes. So he identifies himself by his childhood nickname to prove that it is him. And he even shows her a scar on his cheek that would confirm that this was Clairvius.
Okay.
Angelina still is very unhappy to see him, but only because the last time she saw him was when he was being buried in the family's plot of land after his funeral.
Okay. How old are these people?
He was born in 1922. So this is 1980. So he's like in his 60s.
Oh, okay.
But so the last time she'd seen him, he was like in his 40s, mid 40s.
Okay. I don't know why I was thinking that when he died, he was young.
No, he was an adult. Sorry,
Got
that's
it.
why I didn't even write down the ages because it's like adult to adult.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
So 18 years earlier, on April 30th, 1962, Clairvius had admitted himself to the local hospital. So he arrived and he presented with a high fever. He had been complaining about blood in his urine and also coughing up blood. And he had really intense body aches that hadn't gotten better for a few days. So he went to the hospital. The doctors tried to treat him, but despite their best efforts, over the next 2 days, he just continued to decline and he eventually died. Angelina, being his sister, had been called into the hospital to identify her brother's body. She went to the morgue. She sees the body. She confirms, that's my brother. And then he was placed in a cooling drawer. So like below, it's like 30 degrees or whatever. While the tests are done to determine the cause of death, to make sure there's nothing hinky before they release the body.
Nothing hanky.
So after 24 hours, the tests come back revealing that he just had kidney failure and his kidneys had shut down. So once that was determined, his body was released to his family, who, like I said, had a funeral for him and buried him in their family plot of land. But Clairvius explains to Angelina that he was in fact not dead, but remembered dying, being examined, and even being buried. But during this time, he was unable to move, speak, or breathe. So he was in that cooling chamber. He was in that coffin. He was all about it.
Being buried alive is like one of those like irrational fears that you like probably won't happen, but holy shit.
Have you seen the movie Awake?
No.
Oh, that movie, that was like my biggest fear, was waking up during surgery, but being like trapped in your body so you can't even open your eyes.
That's another thing I'm terrified of ever being put under.
Have you never been put under?
Never in my life.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I won't.
I mean, smart.
I mean, I know like
think
eventually one day I'm probably going to have to,
Yeah.
maybe, but I won't if I can help it. Like when I got my wisdom teeth taken out, I was awake.
I was awake too, and that was not fun.
They asked me and I said, I'm not going under.
Yeah. No, I've been under several times.
That's why I'll never get a boob job.
Smart.
Like genuinely. I'm not even lying.
No, thank God we have that going for
Yeah.
us. So he explains to her that after 3 days of being buried, somebody dug him up, put like smeared like something under his nose that like woke him up again. They beat him, blindfolded him, and then took him to a sugar plantation where he was forced to work as a slave for the next 2 years along other zombie-like men and women.
Wait, okay. How did they know he was not dead?
We'll get there, girl.
Oh my God.
So he basically could only do what he was told because he felt like he didn't have full function of his brain. So he was literally acting like a zombie, like he like couldn't make his own decisions and stuff. But one day, one of the stronger men ended up killing their captor with a farming tool, and all of the zombies escaped. They all fled.
Holy shit.
And after this, he wandered around for 16 years before finally coming to confront his sister.
Okay, so he was only there for 2 years.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So you might wonder, why would he wait so long? Why would he not come home right away? Well, he was convinced that it was one of his own brothers who had hired a Bokor to turn him into a zombie as punishment for being selfish with the land that the parents had left them.
Okay.
You see, Clairvius had kept very large plots of family land, and after their parents had died, he had refused to split it up evenly with his brothers and siblings, which meant that Clairvius made a ton of money and had the largest plots of land while his brothers struggled.
Okay, well, that's kind of shitty. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, exactly. But getting him out of the picture wasn't enough. They wanted him to suffer, so they hired the voodoo priest to damn Clairvius to an eternity of slave labor at the plantation. So we also have to keep in mind, Haiti was occupied by France. France brought over almost 1 million enslaved people from Africa to Haiti. Enslaved people revolt that worked. They literally got France the fuck out of there and claimed their independence and their freedom. So there is a lot of trauma around that. So that is something you have to keep in mind when listening to this story and also listening to all of this. There's also a lot of the voodoo beliefs they believe came from like Congo and other parts of Africa that were brought over by people who were enslaved and kind of meshed or like mixed with Catholicism because the French wanted all of the people there to be Catholic. And at one point, it was one of the most profitable colonies, colonized areas because there was so much sugar and other exports there. But of course, none of the people who were doing the labor were making any of this money. Mm-hmm. And that is why they did a violent revolt. So the idea of being cursed to slave labor for eternity or until your meat falls off your bones is like, the most horrible ancestral trauma you could put on someone, basically. Yeah. But so when he escaped with the other zombies, he didn't come home because he thought that his brother would just return him to the plantation or give him to another voodoo priest to continue on his torment. So he did not come back until he heard that his brother had died.
Oh.
And so he finally could return home so nobody would send him back to his torment.
I mean, like obviously nobody should be subjected to slave labor. But he also like really fucked over his brothers.
He did. And you want to know what else? So apparently he was like a deadbeat dad. He had like
so he wasn't even a good person.
No, he had like gotten 3 different women pregnant and then like not financially or emotionally supported these women at all and just was like, meh. So when he came back, people in the village were like, you kind of suck.
Yeah,
anyway.
Like you're actually the worst.
Yeah, they were like, bro, like it's so clear why somebody zombied you. You know what
you
I mean?
You got zombied, bro.
You got fucking zombied.
And you might have deserved it. I don't know.
And allegedly. So remember that scar I talked about on his cheek that he showed her? So that was actually from them putting him in his coffin. There had been a loose nail that had snagged his cheek and left the scar. And so he was like, this is literally from when you guys put me in my coffin. Like, I'm clear. Like, hello, it's me.
I'm the problem. It's me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his sister, of course, believes that it is him, but is like, dude, I'll give you some cash to like.
She's like, I hate you.
Yeah, to like, I'll give you some cash to like get the fuck out of here. But like, I'm not trying to fuck with any of this cursed nonsense. You know what I mean? So he does actually end up getting interrogated by local law enforcement, and he tells them that he believes that the Boko had taken his soul and was planning on keeping him enslaved with the other zombies until he decayed and basically, you know, all of his meat fell off his bones.
Ugh.
But that even after death, that this priest would still have control over his soul, and he would be subject to an eternity as, you know, at his beck and call, basically.
Yeah.
And everyone in town was like, yeah, bro, you got zombied. Good luck.
You got fucking zombie.
Good luck, but like, this is kind of what you get. Like, karma's a bitch, basically.
Yeah.
Which isn't great.
But also all the other zombies, like, let's help them out. Let's help the good ones out.
The good ones out. What if they're all deadbeat dads?
If they're all horrible, then I don't know what to tell you.
Who stole from their own siblings.
Yeah, then I really don't know what to tell you.
So this story ends up spreading, and word of it actually reaches the Harvard University up here in the United States.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
Okay.
And specifically an ethnobotanist whose name is Wade Davis.
Sounds familiar.
You might be like, why would a botanist be interested in any of this that's going on? Well, it's because all the locals agreed that there was a dust that the Bokor would use that would cause the zombification if they blew it onto your face or skin. So, like, just imagine you're walking down the street, bopping around, and he goes and blows this dust on you.
Please
and then it's like, all right, the clock is ticking because there's nothing you can do now.
It was like a poison.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of Davis's colleagues hears about this and gets in contact with him because he had recently been down in South America working on like different indigenous plants in that area, like cataloging them. So he was like, hey, I'm actually going to work to send you down to Haiti, and you're going to figure out what is in that dust that could possibly cause zombification.
What is isn't there like a drug that dust is the nickname for?
Meth.
Yeah.
Crystal. So this is what Wade Davis does. He heads down to Haiti. He ends up talking to multiple different voodoo priests. He observes some rituals. And while not all of their secrets can be shared, obviously, because he's an outsider, he ends up determining that the dust contains crushed, so some part of like a dead body, basically. The one that he observes is it's crushed bone fragments from a dead infant who had died of natural causes. And then the voodoo priest had collected the skull and crushed it into a powder.
No.
Dried and crushed puffer fish, freshly killed blue lizards, a large dried toad with a dried sea worm wrapped around it, and a plant called itching pea, which is like a really spiny plant that you don't want to touch because it'll make you itchy and gross. But like all dried and like ground together into a dust, basically.
If any of that was blown into my face,
you'd zombie yourself.
I would absolutely zombie myself.
Yeah.
You would never see me again.
So when Wade Davis finds this out, he ends up writing his book, the one I was talking about, called The Serpent and the Rainbow. And he posits that pufferfish, which this might sound familiar, does contain a toxin called tetrodotoxin that causes total muscle paralysis. So what this is, and you might have heard about this because there are people who eat pufferfish, and if it's not as like a sushi, and if it's not prepared correctly, it can be fatal.
I don't remember this from SpongeBob.
So if you ingest this and you ingest enough of it, not only will it cause total muscle paralysis, but also often death. And like I said, there is no antidote. There is nothing to save you.
This is why we just shouldn't eat fish, people.
Amanda's like, I have been proven correct once again.
I have been trying to tell you guys.
Yeah.
Fish, don't eat fish. Fish are friends, not food.
There you go. And so what this means is not only your voluntary muscles, like, your biceps, your triceps, the things that you use your brain to move around, right? But also your involuntary muscles, like your heart and your breathing system, would just eventually stop and you'd be completely trapped inside of your own body.
Oh my God.
Until you died because you wouldn't be unable to breathe or pump your own blood.
I don't think I can breathe or pump my own blood right now.
It's making you think too much, huh?
Yeah.
I know. I was like rubbing. I was like,
I might just like fall to the ground and die right now. I might just zombie myself.
So Wade Davis concluded that this maybe could cause what appeared to be death in people who had this dust blown onto their skin. And then they could resurrect, but with limited brain function because they would be starved of oxygen. And that would maybe cause like the zombification of these people where they have limited use of brain. And then also appear dead because their heart rate would drop so low and their breathing would be so little because of the paralyzation that they would appear dead and people would think that they were dead.
I don't like this story already.
And obviously, Clairvius is not the only person to have claimed to be a zombie or experienced this zombification process. It is very widely believed in Haiti. Over 50% of the population of Haiti believes in zombies, and even more believe that it could possibly be possible, which once again, it's like we were talking about in Iceland and their belief of the Huldufolk, right? Like if a native population tells you that they believe something, I'm going with them.
No,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Who am I to say that you are wrong?
Yes.
When you have lived here your whole life.
You have your lived experience. I'm just a guest in your home.
I will never say you're wrong. Yeah. I will absolutely dive full force.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing we even say about any, indigenous populations here. We're like, we're just a guest in our own home at this point. Yeah.
I mean,
and that's the
we
thing.
fucking took over everybody's land over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say they weren't even indigenous to Haiti. They were brought over against their will and had to bring their own beliefs and traditions. And then the colonizers tried to force their own religion, Catholicism, onto this. And at this point, so at one point, voodoo was considered illegal and like punishable by death in Haiti, even after the revolutions, which happened like 1804, I think it was. Don't quote me on that. I think it was somewhere around there. But nowadays, I was reading that like it's pretty split between people who consider themselves like believers in voodoo and people who consider themselves Catholics. But even the Catholics, it's like very influenced by their native beliefs that come, once again, we can't know for sure, but mostly from the Congo area. Like, God damn, the way people have treated Black people in this world is horrifying.
Absolutely.
And traumatic, and Jesus Christ. But anyway. So, of course, there are theories as to what happened here. So how about we dive into some of those?
Please. What is going on?
Yeah. So the first theory is that they just zombified his ass, and other people have also been zombified. This is it's not a common story, but it's also not a unique story. It's something that has been told before. And the word zombie, like if you go to zombie Wikipedia, the first thing on there is Haitian beliefs and that.
Well, that's what I'm
system.
Okay, so is the zombification thing only in Haiti, or has it been told in other places in the world?
So there are some, if you're looking at like the history of the word zombie, like I said, the first thing that comes up is Haitian folklore or Haitian beliefs, or French Haitian or Creole as well. But they do believe that it originates from Central Africa,
okay,
where there are beliefs of this as well. Our like American view of zombies didn't really become part of the zeitgeist until Night of the Living Dead in 1968, which, as we discussed previously, he actually was looking at the term ghoul, which is an Arabic word.
Yes.
So once again, we're just stealing everything all over the place, but
that's what we do.
That's unfortunately
what we do.
Unfortunately, what we do best. Okay, so that's the first theory. Cursed by a voodoo priest for being kind of a jackass,
Mm-hmm.
and his brother paid to have him taken out, basically.
Which I can't fully blame the brother.
As a lover of revenge.
He fucked over his brother.
He did. That's
like
not cool.
hardcore.
What did we always talk about? And we've talked about this so many times on this podcast. Inheritances destroy families.
Yeah, like I don't understand how you could have siblings and not just split things equally.
Yeah.
I can't grasp that.
Because money makes people crazy. Money,
yeah.
assets, land, like it really does. Like it makes people absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
So the other theory is that it is the tetrodotoxin. And this is Wade Davis's favorite theory. But the problem with this is they have tried to replicate this dust, and it's a science thing that I don't really understand, but I guess like the thing that's inside of the pufferfish, it's like a bacteria that makes you sick, and it gets into your brain and makes you all zipped out
Zombie.
or whatever. Yeah, and like, you know, makes you all paralyzed. But apparently if you like dry it out, it has like a very, very, it like makes it way less potent, first of all, and second of all, makes it like almost no shelf life because it's like dried out. It like needs like a wet environment or whatever.
Okay.
I might not be explaining that perfectly, but basically what I'm saying is this would be like the least proper way to, if you're trying to give this to someone.
You dried out a puffer fish and
crushed
it up and blew it in someone's face, it most likely would not have done this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And also they replicated the approximate dust recipe that they had from Wade Davis, and they injected it into mice. They blew it onto mice's faces, and they also fed it to mice, and it had no effect.
I hate when they have to do that.
I know, it sucks.
I don't like that.
It sucks. We think we're the best species.
I know.
Yeah.
It all goes back to Wicked.
It's all going back to Wicked.
Everything goes back to Wicked, guys.
Racism, colonialism, sexism.
But I don't like the idea that that all these like people replicated this recipe. They're like, let's get an infant skull.
Well, I'm assuming
Crush
they
it
didn't.
up. I don't love that.
I'm assuming they didn't use an infant skull, because the way that they described it, or at least that he described it in the book, is that you just need some sort of like dead person part.
I don't like that either, though.
Yeah,
I don't love
it's
any
not
of that.
ideal.
It's not great.
Welcome to witchcraft, baby.
I don't love it.
But so that is like, there's a lot of skepticism around that being a theory, and a lot of like scientists and stuff say like, oh, this just isn't true, it's just folklore, and it's either like people who are crazy, or these are their other two theories.
Okay.
People who just believe that it's all bullshit, right?
Tell me.
So the first theory is that it was not Clairvius in the hospital.
Like,
so
wait, the first time? Like when he died?
yes.
Okay.
So apparently the way it worked down there during this time is if you were like a local, it was like super cheap to get going to the hospital and have healthcare or whatever. But if you weren't a local, it was really expensive. And so people were like, well, maybe Clairvius ran into someone who was sick and needed to go to the hospital. And he was like, well, just put my name down.
Oh.
And that way it will only cost you like $5 or whatever instead of $50.
And he was rich at the time.
But also like that, I mean, that doesn't matter. He's just saying like locals get it cheaper.
Got it.
So
okay.
if you say my name, I'm a local, like you're visiting in town or you're here, whatever, just say that your name is my name and that you're local. And that way you won't have to have this big bill.
But his sisters saw
Well,
him. Oh.
So that's the thing. After he died, he was identified by his sister who saw him in the morgue, and they buried him also on the plot of land. But the reason people think that this could have been maybe somebody who looked like him or something like that is because he wasn't financially taking care of those kids that I was talking about. And he was having land issues with his brothers who were very unhappy with him. So he was, people think maybe he gave his name to this guy who looked enough like him to maybe try and get away with it. And, she's traumatized. She's looking at what she thinks is her dead brother. She misidentifies him, and he gets put away. And then, as they get older, he's getting into his 60s. He thinks he might die soon or whatever. He thinks, well, I need to reconnect with my family, and I'm going to concoct this story I know that they will believe, because this is a popular belief in Haiti. so that I can reconnect with my family, maybe.
Okay, so this is already like a known story by the time he had seen his sister.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then the other theory is that the person that came back wasn't Clairvius, that it was like a scammer.
That's probably what I would think.
Yeah, who looked enough like him, but once again, it's been 18 years, knows that the family is wealthy, they owned all this land, and is hoping to get a little piece of that action, reads about him dying, once knows about this belief in, once again, it's a popular belief in Haiti as far as I know. If you're Haitian and you have something else to say, please correct me. You will not offend me. Because I'm just going off of things I read on the internet and all that stuff. But and so he came back, but the problem with that is he used a childhood nickname that they hadn't even called Clairvius in like decades before he died. And he had the scar on his cheek that was the same one as when he got put into the casket.
And how would he know that?
And how would anybody know that besides people that were at the funeral and that was just their immediate family?
Yeah. What do you think?
Brother?
I want to know.
I don't know, because like there's plenty of people also who just say like, oh, this is all bullshit. But like that's not how
why
we
do
roll
they
here.
think that's why do they think that's bullshit?
Just that the story was made up or it was.
But other people have come out and said that.
Yes. And so like this is so, once again, it's like people are so fucking racist, right? Like I saw someone put like, oh, and 2 of the doctors that confirmed he was dead were American. Like that makes it so much better. Oh, shut up.
What the fuck does that have anything to do with anything?
But
do you know how often American doctors are wrong? Very, actually.
There it is.
Sorry.
Nope, you're so right.
But yeah, literally from experience in my own fucking family.
Yeah, you'll see that 100 times. You'll see that 100 times if you look up this case. Like, and one of the doctors or 2 of the doctors that confirmed he was dead was American.
Unless it was McSteamy or McDreamy, I don't care.
The only men we trust.
You know what I mean? And they're both dead. So
yeah,
spoiler.
But so it's hard because, like, let's say he really wasn't dead. He had this like toxin in his head, right? They put him in a 30-degree cooler for 24 hours. Like that would kill you.
Yes.
So like, let's say you're like breathing so little, your heart rate's so slow that they misdiagnose you with dying, which we've told stories about that. So they have little bells and whatever, because people would misdiagnose people.
Buried alive. One of my biggest fears.
But he was in a cooling slab for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then the misidentification thing, like, yeah, I understand you can fuck up, but like, I'm sorry, how much would you have to look like my brother for me to misidentify you?
Okay, I'm really stupid, but okay, this is really I feel like this is really dumb for me to say, but
say it.
Could that, okay, like let's say he like legally was I don't even know what I'm about to say, but what if he was like legally dead or whatever, like all his stuff stopped, right, from the drugs?
Yeah.
And then he's put in this cooler. Isn't that like supposed to preserve?
I don't think it was cold enough.
Okay.
And also,
so
like,
I'm thinking like that could preserve the body.
I think that's something that you can do in theory, like very quickly, but I don't think it would. I don't think that would.
Like we're thinking,
because then think about it, he was underground for 3 days.
Yeah. So we're thinking like the cooling freezer actually would have killed him. Would have been
the thing that killed him. He would have been hypothermic.
Because in my brain, I'm thinking like, well, could that have preserved something? And then like when he got underground, I don't know.
No,
he would make sense what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I do understand. Okay. It's like the cryogenically frozen thing.
Yes,
like, you know, we have fucking Walt Disney's head in a chamber or whatever.
Exactly.
Allegedly, in my opinion. I'm so sorry, Mickey. Don't come for me. Yes, but I think it would have been more of like a Jack in Titanic situation with that temperature.
Okay.
Like he just would have had hypothermia anyway.
Okay, so there's no way it was him.
I guess not. I don't know.
Because at first I'm like, well, the curse thing I would believe because that's just what I'm inclined to believe.
Yeah.
But when you say it like that, there's no way it could have been him. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because he would have been dead.
Yeah.
So there's no way.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
But what was the guy? Okay, if it wasn't him and it was someone faking it, what would he have been after?
Money, I guess.
But what did they have? The other guy, the dead guy, had everything.
Yeah, but then when he died, obviously everybody else, it was like
so
family
like the sister
land.
Angelina now was rich.
I don't know if she was rich, but her and her brother split up because the land that he had. So basically, what was going down is when the parents were alive, they let Clairvius farm on some of their land, like more land than other people.
Mm-hmm. Was he the oldest
family? I'm not sure. That's the other thing is it's like there's not a ton about this because there was nothing like really significant happening with this family until this.
Yeah.
And when they died, everybody was like, okay, now we're going to split the land evenly because mom and dad died. And like, that's what you do when the parents die. You split all the land and all the assets evenly. And he was like, no, actually, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing now. And you guys can figure it out with what's left over. What
if, because, okay, he's kind of an asshole. We've already established that.
Yeah. And once again, it even said like in all the articles and whatever that like the village was like, yeah, like you karma. Once again, karma.
Okay.
Cat on my lap.
I'm just saying the only thing I didn't really hear in the theories, he faked his death.
Well, that would be like if it wasn't him who died.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, they think I'm dead. I'm just going to book it. So I don't have to pay these women.
I'm saying instead of like him coming across someone and being like, oh, you can take my name. Like he sought somebody out.
Oh, okay. Like an on purpose.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That honestly would make the most sense.
And
to
then
me.
he's just getting older. He gets sentimental. He's lonely.
And he's like, fuck, I did all this stuff.
I want to see my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would almost make more sense to me than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
And he was like, he sought somebody out that looked most
on
like
purpose
him.
like him.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, when your
like he
eyes
was
are
like, I
closed-
know that this will trick my sister. Like this person looks specific. Because
yeah.
what are the odds that the person that comes to him like, I need help or whatever
sick.
would
Yeah.
look like him? I'm sorry. That's crazy.
Well, yeah. And it's like, when you're sick or, and we've seen dead people before. Like when you see a dead person, they do look different than when they were alive.
Enough like them.
Yeah. Where like I could see if you looked close enough. But then it's like, did he seek out a sick person or did he
kill somebody? That's what I'm saying. I think I don't know what he did, but I think he faked his own death.
Okay. I'm going zombies are just real in Haiti. Why not?
I mean, that too. It's one or the other. There's no in between.
But either way, it's a crazy story. It's one that, I heard about for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
I think he faked his own death. Maybe because he had these 3 kids that he didn't want to parent.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's so many options.
Because he owed them money.
Yeah.
Because he had child support.
Okay. I'm sticking with my theory. I think he faked his own death.
Okay. I like it. Picasso.
And then killed somebody else, which is also really fucking bad. No offense.
I love on his Wikipedia, it says known for allegedly being a zombie.
Honestly, kind of iconic.
Very funny. Yeah. What a good one. There is a really trippy movie called The Serpent and the Rainbow that is based off of this story, which was made by Wes Craven.
Oh,
it's an 80s horror film. So of course it's like insane. But I actually remember watching this a long time ago.
I love that.
I had a friend who was obsessed with this movie, showed it to me, and it gave me such anxiety. But I was also really young. And now I need to rewatch it.
Let's do it. Watch party.
Watch party. If anybody is Haitian or has Haitian relatives or is from Haiti, knows people from Haiti, I would love some firsthand knowledge about this.
Yes, please.
That's my favorite thing about like telling these kinds of stories that are like based in cultures that I'm not a part of is everyone's been super nice. Anybody who's ever had anything to say to like either correct me or just tell me more about it.
Yeah.
Because like, believe me, I want to know more about it. Like if you got some tea, like spill it, like come to the email, get to my DMs. I want to know because I had people do it about the ghoul episode. I had people do it about the Hold the Folk episode. Like, and it was, I mean, it's just, that's the best ever.
Yeah.
So
our listeners are awesome.
Yeah. So thank you guys.
Also the fact that we just have so many people that know about so many different cultures is incredible.
And from different cultures. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So that's a blessing. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. And don't try to steal from your brothers because they might curse you.
I really think I'm right.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I meant to say this at the beginning.
What?
I wanted to say thank you to Darby, who sent me this really great stuffing recipe because I was talking about how much I love stuffing. And because it's literally my favorite thing in the entire stuffing is my favorite part of Thanksgiving. And so they sent me a thing being like, I know it's literally the day before Thanksgiving, but I have a stuffing because I will make stuffing year round. You are correct, Darby. So yes, I will make this. Not only did they give me the stuffing recipe, but they also gave me a recipe to recreate Jimmy Dean's sage sausage if you can't find it at the store. And thanks.
You better make it.
Darby, I am planning on it. I realized there's so many foods that like we only make at holidays. And I'm like, why? Like, why can I not have pumpkin pie in July?
We should be able to.
Like, we're using canned pineapple. Isn't that the point of the canning technology? Or sorry, pumpkin. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Pineapple.
We're using canned pumpkin. Isn't the point of increasing technology like the fact that we can have food year round because we canned it?
Yeah.
Like,
I know, I agree.
I'm sorry.
What are we doing?
I need it.
What are we doing, people? We don't just need it in November and December.
Of course, I want to eat bread that's soaked in butter and then put in the oven until it's crispy in June. Yeah. I deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm a calorie queen.
I agree. Hard agree on that one. We should start doing that from now on.
We should. I'm gonna start having like, you know how people do like Christmas in July?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start in like Midsummer Scream, right? I'm gonna start doing Halloween or
Thanksgiving.
I fear I may have fried my brain.
I fear that you might be zombified.
I might have been zombed out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing Thanksgiving in May for my birthday.
You know what?
Fuck you guys.
Is a really great segue.
Is it?
It kind of is.
Okay, perfect.
Because
Perfect. I love when that happens.
Do you know something that I absolutely love? And people only have it during the holidays. And it is something that I think about all year round. I'm like, why can't I enjoy this all year round? I should be able to.
What is it?
Eggnog.
I love eggnog.
I fucking love eggnog. And it is such like a down the middle split. Like either you hate it or you love it.
Eggnog is, and I've actually been like counting up things that are like this because it's like pickles, mayonnaise. What?
Just funny things that you're saying.
Yeah, like they're things that people either like love or they hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pickles, mayonnaise,
olives.
All things
Eggnog.
I love, by the way.
Yeah, eggnog. Like there are just certain foods that are so divisive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And eggnog, which just happens to be what my story is about today.
Are you about to tell me the history of eggnog right now?
I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not. Don't worry. But we are going to talk about the West Point Eggnog Riot.
Oh, let's get down with it.
So let's get into it.
Let's go. Welcome to holidays.
So my sources were drunkard.com by Chris Tormos, Smithsonian Magazine by Natasha Sealing, military.com by Blake Stillwell, history.com by Christopher Klein, and How Stuff Works by Lori L. Dove.
Love it.
So I just figured I love eggnog. It's the holidays. It's creamy. It's delicious. Once again, you either hate it or you love it. There's no in between.
I love it. Put some rum in there.
Put some rum, some brandy. I think that's kind of what people normally do, but rum, brandy, whiskey, you can really do anything.
Yeah, really get creative with it.
Get creative. That's what I just want to talk about today. So do you know who the very first person to serve eggnog with alcohol in it to people was?
This is a famous person?
It is a famous person.
Can you give me a century?
The 1700s, late 1700s.
No.
I thought you were going to come up with something.
George Washington.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes!
Ding, 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 ding,
ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Wait, I'm so...
A new car. Amanda has to give me her new car she just bought. She literally just bought a new car like 2 days ago. You have to give it to me now because I knew it.
You didn't say that before you guessed though, so
I was having I had to do my moment. See, this is my problem is I'm really good at trivia because like I can usually deduce, but I'm not confident enough. I need to be more
Well,
confident.
you literally got it
clearly.
right. So you should have went with it.
A new car. Guys, hanging out with us is so fun. You guys would not survive it.
I'm literally so excited that you got that. But yes, George Washington was the first person to ever serve eggnog with alcohol in it during the holidays to guests. He even had his own famous eggnog recipe that actually has a lot more liquor in it than what most people today usually use.
You know what? God bless America.
God bless America.
You know, that's kind of what we've been missing. We've had 2 sober presidents in a row.
Ew.
Trump and Biden are both sober.
Ew.
I think that's the problem.
Ew. Like ew. What do you mean? I didn't even know that.
You can't run a country on Diet Coke alone.
You need to be a little drunk.
Yeah.
What?
Listen, I get it. I'm so happy for every sober brother and sister out there, but like, if you're gonna have the nuclear codes, I'm gonna need you to black out at least once a year. In my opinion.
Wow, you just really set something off inside of me that I'm not okay with. And I already wasn't okay with things, and now it's just worse.
It was already bad, and now it's so much worse.
It's so much worse. Do you want to know George Washington's eggnog recipe?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to make it.
Okay. So if any of you guys want to make this, 1 quart cream, 1 quart milk, 1 dozen tablespoons of sugar.
Okay.
1 pint of brandy, half a pint of rye whiskey, half a pint of Jamaican rum, a 1/4 pint of sherry. Then you're going to mix all that liquor together. Then you're going to separate the yolks and the whites of 12 eggs.
Oh, you got to get to whisking.
You got to whisk. Add sugar to the beaten yolks. Mix well. Add milk and cream, slowly beating the whole time. Beat the whites of the eggs until they're stiff and they're folded slowly into the mixture. Let set in a cool place for several days.
Days?
And taste frequently.
Days?
Mm-hmm.
I will be trying this.
Yeah, that's what George Washington wants you to do.
We should do this.
In the name of George Washington.
In the name.
We must do this.
All right. Look for us on TikTok.
God bless America.
This. Absolutely.
All right. So now let's talk about the West Point Military Academy a little bit. I know. I did go on a date with a West Point guy in college. Do you remember that? He took me ice skating. Did you go on one? Oh, shit. I forgot about that. Uh-huh.
It's really traumatic. That's why we had to cover. It was a very traumatic, but it's funny. But it was really traumatic at the time.
Oh my God. I totally forgot about that.
So sorry if you go to West Point now. Just blame that person.
Yeah, sorry. A couple bad seeds here and there. It's fine. Anyway, so West Point Military Academy. This is the nation's first military academy, and it was founded in 1802. It sits 50 miles north of New York City, overlooking the Hudson River. So cadets would attend the academy for 4 years and then graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree and a commission as a second lieutenant. And then they would go off into the world and do
nefarious
military
activities.
things as they do. I don't know what they do, but whatever that is. When West Point first opened in 1802, it was pretty small, obviously. This is the first year that it had been a thing.
Yeah, and like 8 people lived in the country, so.
Quite literally. It had 10 cadets as students and 3 teachers the very first year, which is obviously very fucking small. But as the years went on, more and more students would start to trickle in. However, the students didn't really seem to care all that much about like learning how to become a military soldier or whatever the fuck it is they do. I don't even know. I'm assuming that's what they do there.
Same, brother.
So the whole place was very unorganized. The cadets would often go out every night and get absolutely hammered. They loved to party. They loved to drink.
Still college.
It is college. That's what they like to do. And they also loved to duel each other. Like literally like kill each other.
With guns?
Swords even?
Okay.
Yeah. And probably while they were drinking was not the smartest thing to do, but that is what they would do. But all that would soon change after the War of 1812 when Congress decided.
When was that?
In 1812.
Sorry, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I couldn't help
I did have
myself.
to Google it to make sure the years, and it ended in 1815. So it
Just
wasn't
to
all in
double
one
check.
year, just so you guys are aware.
For the record,
it wasn't all, it didn't begin and end in 1812, if you guys didn't know.
that is a misleading
It was
title.
a couple years, which is annoying because you know how like there's the 7 Years' War that lasted for 7 years?
Yeah.
So like why would the War of 1812, which ended in 1815, be called the War of 1812? Why wouldn't it be called, I don't know, the 3 Years' War?
Yeah, they just like weren't really creative back then.
Like come up with something better.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
that's like when they used to call World War I the Great War because they were like, that's got to be the last one. That's got to be the last time.
Little did they know.
That's got to be the last time we do that one, right? That was great, guys. Everyone, that was great. Everyone get back to your countries and we'll just table that discussion for another time.
And then they were like, oh shit, there's another one. We got to name it
You're
World
like,
War
"We got-
II?
Great, now I got to go back and change all this shit. I had all these plaques made for what? For nothing? God damn it, Japan and Germany and Italy.
Fuck, man. So after the the war. Sorry, I don't know what's happening now.
In 1815.
In 1815, when the War of 1812 ended, remember it was 3 years, don't forget, Congress decided to put more money into the academy to make it like a more prestigious place to be, and that they could get some real military officials from the graduating classes instead of these fucking bozos that just drink all the fucking day long and don't care about anything and are dueling each other while they're drunk.
Yeah, they're like, well, we had 10 people. 7 of them died in a duel.
Literally.
So I guess these are our new 3 commanders.
They're like, we got to figure something out here because this is not working out.
Lieutenant.
So in 1817, Congress employs Colonel Sylvanus Thayer, what a name,
That is a name.
to come in and to run the academy and whip all these fucking bitches into shape.
Yeah, get them spick and span.
And Thayer wastes no time at all, and he begins to implement some very strict rules into place, and he is soon referred to as the father of West Point
Got it.
because
Okay.
he is fucking cracking the whip on them. So the first few rules that he actually like put forth were that the students were not allowed to leave campus whenever they wanted anymore, because that was something that they often did, just like ran amok.
Yeah.
The cadets also weren't allowed to cook in their dorm rooms. They weren't allowed to smoke tobacco, and they were no longer allowed to duel each other.
I think that one seems fair.
That
Yeah.
one's kind of fair. But by far the worst rule to the students was that alcohol was no longer permitted on campus, except for twice a year, on July 4th and on Christmas.
God bless America.
God bless America, baby. So the alcohol ban was obviously especially hard for the cadets because, once again, that's just all they like to do. They didn't really want to learn. They didn't really want to be in the military, it seems. They just wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is what it is. And also, they had multiple places that were very close to the academy, like literally on campus, actually, some of them were, that the students would often go to buy their alcohol, like taverns and
Okay.
like little bars and stuff.
Yeah.
So Colonel Thayer, being the annoying tyrant that he is, he now goes around to these different establishments and he tries to take care of the issue of having the alcohol in close proximity to the school.
Got it. Okay. So he's shutting down small businesses is what I'm hearing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So he first purchases a building that held one of the closest bars to West Point, and that was called North's Tavern. And he closed down the bar after he purchases the building, and he turns that whole property into a hospital.
Well, I guess that's nice.
That is kind of nice. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like you're doing something good. Like
I'd rather have a hospital than a bar, I suppose. Well, I can afford to go to the bar, but I can't
I was
afford
gonna
to
say
go to the
you,
hospital.
you would specifically you.
I was gonna say,
We can't even get into we can't even walk into a hospital.
no, that costs too much.
Yeah, we don't have the money for that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Sorry. Then he heads over to Benny Haven's Tavern, which was also on the West Point property. And this was by far the most popular place for the cadets to go to get alcohol. And Thayer goes and he basically like intimidates Benny into no longer selling alcohol to the cadets. He's like, you better quit it.
So you can like sell it to other
or
people?
else. Yeah, he can sell it to other people, like other people that come into the establishment. But if a cadet comes in, like, because you know how they always have to wear uniforms and stuff. So unfortunately for Thayer, Benny Haven was like, I'm sorry, I'm a boy's boy. And these boys deserve to drink alcohol.
I've never heard a more disturbing sentence than I'm sorry, but I'm a boy's boy. Shiver down my spine.
I know, except I like this guy.
A chill down my spine on that one. Ooh. Ugh. You know?
Okay, just think of it as the equivalent of a girl's girl, though.
No, I know. But that's
like he just wanted these boys to get their alcohol because he hated Thayer.
Yeah, no, I think that that's fair.
Yeah.
I just, the phrase itself, chilling, deeply disturbing. Yeah.
No, I get it. I understand. So Benny Haven continues to sell the cadets alcohol for many years, like under the table.
Yeah.
And then Thayer eventually finds out and he's like, you motherfucker, what did I tell you?
But also like under the table, he owns a bar. That's his job. It's not illegal. They didn't make it illegal for him to sell to them.
No, I'm saying Thayer intimidated him to not sell to the cadets.
Yeah.
He was like, don't you fucking dare. And Benny was like, I'm going to do that. So Thayer kicks Benny off the West Point property and he bans them for good. It was Benny and his wife who owned the tavern. But they were not going to let that stop them from having a business.
Yeah.
So eventually they end up buying a small shack that was literally right on the Hudson River, directly outside of West Point.
Ah, okay. So they're like, you can't get us here now, bozo.
The only problem is that the tavern was really hard to get to. So you either had to go by boat on the river and like literally like dock up to the bar because it was on the river.
I love that. But yes.
Or you had to crawl down a 60-foot cliffside that has like a huge stone staircase at the bottom of it. And because of this, that made Benny Haven's like a really, really hard spot to get to unless you were a cadet who really wanted alcohol.
I was going to say, I actually think that's how hard men should have to work to get liquor.
That's so fair.
Like they should have to go through a quest.
Yeah, it is a quest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you have to go down a cliffside. So Benny Haven's really became the spot once again for these young students because they were the only ones that were willing to go that far to drink alcohol.
And you know what? They deserved it. They earned it.
They did earn it.
Yeah.
If you can make it down that cliff, you earned it.
Who am I to judge?
And also Benny Haven like didn't really charge a lot of these guys because they were so poor. So they would kind of barter things. So they would bring like shoes and blankets and he would give them booze.
I love Benny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Listen, I said the phrase boy's boy and you hated it, but like that's what I meant.
It was just an upsetting phrase
I'm
to hear.
sorry, but that's what I meant by it. You know what I mean?
It set me back like a cat that got near water. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, yeah. It was a gross, like,
you're like,
yeah. I was like, ah. My fight or flight kicked in.
There was also one other tavern across the Hudson River called Martin's Tavern that was actually like much more reasonably priced for the students. But once again, you had to take a boat in order to even get there.
Do love having to take a boat to get anywhere. I think that that's how life should be. Yes.
I hate that, but
oh yeah,
it is what it is. Yeah. But Thayer, he instead of like going over, because in his brain, he's like, okay, well, like they have to take the boat to get there. So instead of like me going over there and like yelling at these guys, I'm just going to appoint a guard to stand at the dock basically at all times to ensure that no cadet attempts to get on this boat.
Yes. Okay.
So on July 4th, 1826, it's, one of the 2 times a year that cadets are allowed to party and drink and get a little rowdy, whatever. And things do indeed get a little rowdy.
Imagine that. Making people not do things actually makes them do it way worse when you let them do it once.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
And the cadets start to perform what is called a snake dance, which when I looked this up, because I was like, what the fuck is a snake dance? It seems like it's some sort of like parade or like I'm envisioning like a conga line of some sort. Yeah. And they're dancing and they're drinking and doing this like little snake dance.
It's so romantic.
It's so romantic. But they end up dancing over to Major William Worth, who was like in charge of all the cadets at the time. And they loved him, by the way. He was like their favorite person.
He's like the cool teacher.
Yeah. So they end up picking him up and carrying him over to the barracks. And they basically kidnapped him because he wasn't allowed to do this. And he was like, no, put me down. Like, I'm your superior.
Yeah.
And they kidnap him and they're like, we want to get drunk with you. Like, fuck everybody else.
He's like, no, oh, I can't believe you
like,
guys are making me do this.
As he cracks his grog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grog.
Sorry, that's what they call it in this story, grog. And this event causes Thayer to just fucking lose his mind. And he's like, absolutely not. You crossed the line. This is insane. And he officially bans alcohol from campus all year round.
Not even on July 4th, everybody's favorite holiday?
Not on July 4th and not on Christmas. If any student was caught with alcohol or even like being slightly intoxicated in any form, they would get expelled immediately.
Bah humbug.
Yes, bah humbug is right. And this brings us to Christmas later that year in 1826. So this would be...
Oh my God, 200 years ago.
Stop. Shut
sorry.
up.
I don't know why I even...
Who the fuck are you?
Who asked you?
What the... I'm disgusted.
I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh my God. Let me take a sip of my espresso martini really quick.
I got to cleanse my palate of that thought.
That was like actually sickening.
2,225. That'll be 200 years from now.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm aware.
I'm making it worse.
I'm literally aware of it. Anyway, almost 200 years ago, this would be the first time in West Point's history that the cadets were not able to drink during the holiday party that would take place on Christmas Eve. So the cadets had a tradition of getting absolutely schmammered on spiked eggnog at the holiday party every year since 1802.
Well, sorry. WWWD. What would Washington do?
What would Washington do?
I had to count how many W's. What
and you're
would
dyslexic,
Washington
so I
do?
didn't.
That was hard.
I didn't think you were
hard.
going to be able to pull that one off.
There was a pause. There was a pregnant pause there.
You know what Washington would do? He would make the spiked eggnog anyway,
and he'd be getting schmammered.
Schmammered. That's
he'd be
right.
getting fly like a slizzard.
A G6. But now because of Thayer, they're not allowed to do that anymore, and they're like, "Oh no, that's not happening."
Yeah.
So Thayer knew that this holiday party was coming up, obviously, and there might be some bad eggs, if you will.
See what she did there? Eggnog.
And he was like, you know what? There's probably a really fucking good chance that there's going to be some of these cadets that are going to find a way to smuggle in alcohol, right? Like, he's not stupid. So he appointed 2 officers, Captain Ethan Allen Hitchcock and Lieutenant William A. Thornton, to stand guard at the North Barracks on Christmas Eve when said party usually happens.
Got it. Okay.
But what Thayer hadn't accounted for was that the cadets would have actually planned ahead, and also that the guards could easily be bribed.
Yes, as guards should.
So days before the party, 3 cadets, William Burnley, Alexander Center, and Samuel Roberts, had boarded a boat and went to Martin's Tavern across the river and managed to bring back and smuggle into their dorm 2 gallons of whiskey, which is obviously needed for their eggnog.
Eggnog, yeah.
Hello. And all they had to do was bribe the guard that was standing at the docks for the boat 35 cents to let them bring in the alcohol to their dorms.
I was born in the wrong era. And when I mean that, I just mean I'm poor.
Do you know how much 35 cents is today from 1826?
How much?
$6.
Okay, so like that's just proof that wages are not keeping up with inflation.
They literally were like, "Do you want $6?" And he was like, "Yeah, bet. Let's go."
We need to do something.
Like, that's insane.
Because that's crazy. Like, a $6 bribe today should get you 2 gallons of whiskey.
Right.
But it doesn't.
I don't even know if
you'd have to do like
$100
$150 minimum.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know if $100 would suffice today.
And then I would go, okay, well, now I can't pay rent. So, joke's on you.
And I have
Fair.
no whiskey.
And I have no whiskey.
Bullshit.
There's a hole in my boat, probably, because I couldn't afford to get that fixed.
So true. So true. So the cadets weren't really concerned with getting caught at this point. They all seemed to be on the same page with everything. Like, it was just one specific, like, barracks, too. It was like the North Barracks. There's multiple other ones.
It was like their dorm specifically. That
exactly.
figured it out. Yeah.
So they were like, we're going to just, like, have a good time, party, drink our eggnog, and we're not going to get, like, too fucked up. There was one dude that they were a little concerned with.
There's always one.
He was known for not being able to handle his alcohol very well. He would often get a little too drunk. And his name was Jefferson Davis.
Stop.
Does that name sound familiar to you?
No, never heard of him.
He just so happened to become the first and only president of the Confederate States of America.
Oh, my God.
In the future. So he was our little drunken...
Not even
idiot.
that. He was our fucking lightweight. That's just more proof that a lightweight president will never work for you. You have to have a president who can hold his goddamn liquor.
Absolutely. So he was the only person that these cadets were worried about. He had been the first ever student to be arrested for going to Benny Haven's tavern.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
He also had literally just gotten out of the hospital. Like, I'm talking like days or weeks before this, because the second time he got caught at Benny Haven's, he tried to flee, and he was so hammered that he fell down the stone steps on the side of the cliff, and he was hospitalized for 4 months because of his injuries.
Okay, I'm sorry, but how did they ever expect this man to run the Confederacy?
Well,
and I'm sorry.
What happened?
This is karma for you guys being weird racists who loved slavery. You got the fucking lightweight ass president who literally couldn't keep himself together
down a cliff and was hospitalized for 4 months.
I've been blacked out and gave myself a perfect winged eyeliner. Jefferson couldn't do that. Call me when you can do that.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll put you in charge of a presidency.
Yeah.
Maybe, because I also need to make sure that you're not a racist who loves slaves.
But yeah, Jefferson Davis, he was out of the hospital and he was ready to party.
Fresh. He's lily fresh.
He said, let's fucking go. And he actually was the most helpful when it came to scoring more alcohol for the holiday party, wouldn't you know? On the morning of December 24th, Jefferson Davis and a few other cadets, they had actually gone out and they had gotten ingredients for the eggnog. So like eggs and whatever the fuck else, milk and nogs and all the things that you need. And then they just scooted over to Benny Haven's real quick. And since Benny's the homie, he gave them a gallon of moonshine to bring back with them.
Oh, he said, let me give you that fucking clear liquor.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
And Benny's wife, she's also the homie. She's like, look what I just cooked up. A bunch of mutton.
The meat?
Mm-hmm.
Is mutton lamb?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I always thought, but I wasn't sure.
I had to Google that. Yeah, she cooked up a bunch of mutton and she said, here, take it as your snack while you're drinking.
What? Good for her. She said, line that tummy, baby.
That's right.
You can't go all night if you don't have a little mutton in you.
Mutton in you. That's right.
Ain't nothing but some mutton.
So later on that night, Thayer is actually having the holiday staff party at his home.
Oh, and I'm sure they're allowed to drink.
They are. They are indeed. Hypocrites.
Thayer.
And the cadets are at the barracks fixing up their eggnog concoction. They're fucking whisking away. So after the staff party wraps up, the two officers that Thayer appointed to stand guard at the barracks that night, Hitchcock and Thornton, they're like, you know what? It's midnight. Everything's really calm around here. Nobody's doing anything weird. We're going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Everyone's fine.
It's the holidays. We deserve some PTO.
We need to sleep. We're tired. But once they went to bed, that's when the party really started. So 2 hours later, Captain Hitchcock is woken up by the sound of singing and screaming and pretty much any sound that a drunk idiot would make that you could possibly imagine.
Oh, and there are many.
There are many. I have done them all.
She's ran the gamut.
So Hitchcock gets up and he's already like pretty aware of what's happening. Like he had been, you know, in the military his whole life. And he's like, I know they're drinking. I'm not fucking stupid.
Yeah, they're college kids, dude.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm actually going to be pretty chill about this. And I'm just going to go up there. I'm going to tell them to be quiet, go to sleep, and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So he goes upstairs and he finds about 6 or 7 cadets in their barracks drinking. And he's like, hey guys, enough is enough. Go to sleep. I've had enough.
Yeah.
He leaves. He goes back to bed. 2 hours later.
Okay.
So I think it's like 4 a.m. at this point. Hitchcock is awoken again to someone banging on his door.
That's never good.
So he gets up, he opens the door, he looks down the hall, and no one's there. He's like, really? Like, what the fuck is that? So he gets back in bed. 5 minutes go by. Someone else bangs on the door.
Okay. And he's like, I'm getting pranked.
Yeah. And like, that's fucking annoying. So he gets up, opens the door. Once again, no one's there. He's like, really? Like, fucking people. I'm going to fucking kill somebody. The third time this happens, he's actually already at the door. Because he's like,
I know it's going to happen.
He's like,
again.
I know. Yeah, I'm not going to fucking be fooled.
That's fair.
So he opens the door and he looks down the hall and he sees a bunch of cadets running down the hall and they're screaming, tally ho, Hitchcock. And now he is fucking pissed.
He said, tally this, bitch.
Yeah, he said, you want to fucking see a tally ho? Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 motherfucker.
He immediately runs up the stairs and he starts going ballistic on all these guys. He's going into every room. He's writing people up. He's yelling at them. He goes into one room and he finds 2 cadets hiding under a blanket, like thinking that they can't see him. So they're like, you can't see me. And he's like, take the blanket off. And they just like hesitantly kind of like pull down the blanket and he writes their names down. And just before he leaves, he does a little scan around the room. And that's when he sees a 3rd cadet standing in the corner covering his face with a hat.
Mood.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta.
Been there.
So he goes up to the guy. He goes, take down the hat. And the cadet just shakes his head no from behind the hat.
Oh, no.
And Hitchcock now starts to get progressively more pissed off. And he's like, if you don't pull the hat off, I'm going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not playing games here. And once again, this cadet refuses to pull the hat down. So Hitchcock grabs the hat out of his hand, sees his face, and writes down his name. So Hitchcock is thinking at this point, I'm the shit. Like, everyone should fear me. Like, this is what I'm doing. So he leaves that room and he continues to go into all the other rooms. But Hat Boy, as I will call him because I don't know his name, he's so drunk and he is so enraged that Hitchcock had the audacity to grab him that he now screams out to the other cadets on his hall, get your dirks and your bayonets and your pistols if you have them. Before this night is over, Hitchcock will be dead.
Oh my God. Drama queen.
Drama queen.
I just know this
to
guy.
the umph degree.
I just know this guy was a Nepo baby.
Oh, absolutely.
Spoiled brat.
So at this point, Hitchcock was already upstairs in another room. And this room had over 12 cadets in it. So because of that amount of cadets, Hitchcock decided that he needed to read them the Riot Act. Because apparently, like, if there's over 12 people in a room, it's like it's a riot, I guess, is how that works. I don't really know.
Have you ever had like somebody say that to you? Like, oh, don't make me read you the Riot Act.
No. Have
it's like
you?
Yeah, it's like a thing that people say. It's kind of like a saying, like drinking the Kool-Aid or something, where it's like don't make me like dig into you.
Oh,
basically. Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's like a pretty common saying.
You've had someone say that to you?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was in school.
Oh,
for sure.
But so he reads them the Riot Act, and then he demands that he searches the rest of the room for their booze.
Yeah, which is fair because they're threatening to kill him
Like,
with guns.
Well, he's not aware of that yet.
Oh, okay. So this is like after he left the building or whatever.
So as this is happening, Jefferson Davis, our buddy, he kicks down the door of the room that he's literally inside of already. And he goes, "Put the grog away, boys. Hitchcock is coming." And he looks up and he's like, "Oh shit.
And Hitchcock's like, "I'm literally right here."
Yeah. He's like, "Shit, you're already here." And Hitchcock
once
is
again,
like, yeah.
Just the fact that people are like, "May the South rise again." You guys clearly had no good decision making skills.
So Hitchcock looks at Davis. He's like, "Bro, you're literally a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Go to bed."
Yeah.
And Davis is like, "You know what? I think you're right. I'm actually going to go to bed." And this ends up saving Davis from a load of trouble, which is probably why he ended up being the president of the Confederacy. So that's a little fun fact.
Not my president. Sorry. It's too easy. The jokes are too easy when someone's a loser.
No, absolutely.
It's crazy how easy they
I
are.
don't blame you.
Yeah.
So Hitchcock leaves that room and he continues to go on like to all the other different rooms in the barracks. And he's still not aware that there are cadets literally gathering weapons to find him and kill him.
Yes.
So at this point, cadets are going to Hitchcock's room. They're throwing rocks through his windows. And then others are running down the hallways with swords, muskets, and bayonets.
Oh, because they literally have no idea even where he is.
Right.
And Homeboy's just like trying to walk
He has
around.
no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Outside the barracks, Private James Overton was on guard with a drum, which was like used to alert everyone when there was an attack or a fire or just something that people needed to wake up to, literally like an alarm. And a few cadets that were super drunk go outside, they steal his drum, and they start banging it around outside. So this drumming ends up waking up Lieutenant Thornton, the other guy that
is on
Thayer
patrol
had
or
appointed,
whatever.
who was dead asleep. And he wakes up and he comes out of his room to see this eggnog uprising taking place. And he immediately comes upon a cadet who is pointing a sword at him. And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Put the sword down." And the cadet drops the sword, falls to the floor, and falls asleep.
That's such a mood.
And
That's me fighting with my boyfriend, and then I'm like, I think I might have just been hungry.
And Thornton is like, "What is happening right now? Like, what am I literally witnessing?" So Hitchcock, he's still going around. He has no idea that these cadets have weapons and are searching for him. So he's casually going into rooms, writing people's names down, and he comes across a room that has cadets that have barricaded themselves in the room.
Oh, good.
And he ends up kicking down the door. And right as he gets inside, one of the cadets fires a pistol at him and ends up hitting the door right behind his head.
It's like the original school shooting.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This is like that's what, like, don't get fucked up and have weapons.
No.
You know? So Thornton, who had encountered the sword guy.
Yes.
He now hears the gunshot go off and he's like, "What is happening?
Yeah,
like,
he just
what the fuck did I
woke up to chaos."
Yeah, literally, what did I wake up to? So he starts running in the direction of the gunshot. And before he can even get there, he gets hit in the head with a piece of wood that was thrown by another cadet, and he's knocked unconscious.
These kids are out of control.
Yeah, so now he's no good. He's down. So Hitchcock is now running out of the barracks to find help because he realizes that things have gotten way too out of control and he can't figure out what to do. And he runs into Private James Overton, who is like, "Hey, your fucking cadets stole my drum." And Hitchcock is like, "I don't give a fuck about your drum. They're trying to fucking kill me."
Yeah, they
like,
literally just shot me.
What do you mean?
They just shot at me, like, for real.
And both of these guys are just like, "What is happening?"
This story's insane.
So then Hitchcock thinks that he hears the morning like bugle, like, you know, like that horn
Yeah.
go off. And that's like kind of the sound when it's time for everyone to wake up and come outside.
Yeah, because they wake up early as fuck, and you said it was like 4 a.m.
Yeah,
right?
they wake up at like 6.
Yeah.
And they do their like little routine or whatever they do.
Yeah, they gotta like throw around some fake guns and whatever the fuck.
So he's thinking, oh my God, thank God. Like the bugles is...
It's morning.
It's morning. We're good. Everything's over. But when he turns around, he realizes cadets have actually stolen the bugle.
Yeah,
and they were just playing it.
Yeah, that checks out.
And he's like, oh no, things are really, really bad right now.
This is not going well.
Yeah. So at this point, Thornton, he's still knocked out. Hitchcock and Overton, they have basically had to hide themselves because people are trying to kill them.
Yeah, I just say like let them go at that point.
Yeah. So they're like,
I think that's fair.
Not on me. I don't know. I can't do anything about this. So for the next like hour or two, they just watch as cadets are breaking shit. They're throwing furniture around, breaking windows, breaking doors, just literally fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Commandant William Worth, who was the guy that they actually had kidnapped on the 4th of July to drink with them.
Okay. Who they love
and they respect. He came in and then ended up being like, stop. Literally everyone stop with what you're doing. And everyone actually listened to him.
Well, I was going to say, isn't it crazy that when you just have like the respect of the people that you're supposed to command, they will listen to you way more than anything else? Like just probably because he treated them with respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a little hiccup in this when Hitchcock was overheard telling Overton to go get the comm, which was the commandant.
Yeah.
And some cadets thought he said bomb, meaning bombardiers.
Okay, yeah.
Which apparently they had beef with.
Got it. Okay.
So that's kind of what caused them to start breaking shit and like freaking out.
Because they were like, oh, they're trying to fuck with us, so we'll fuck with them first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really what like freaked everybody out.
Got it. What a surprise. A misunderstanding. This is like when I send Amanda a text message and I forget to put an emoji.
Every time. Every single time.
Pure panic.
And then it just causes
and then I'm like, I'm so sorry. What is going on right now? And she'll be like, it's fine. You hate me. And I'm going to step off of my building. And I go, okay, well, let's reevaluate that.
That happens once a week.
At least.
So
and I wouldn't change it for the world.
So by the time the actual bugle or horn was played at 6:05 a.m., and all the staff and the other cadets from the other barracks came outside, these specific barracks were completely destroyed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot that there's people who are just like, honk shoe.
Oh, yeah, there's so many other people that literally have no idea what's happening. And everyone, including Colonel Thayer, was like, what the fuck did you guys do last night? So Hitchcock comes out. I'm assuming his hair is all over the place.
Gotta be.
He's dazed. He's confused. There's smoke around him. He's like, oh my gosh.
He has some soot on his face for some
reason.
reason.
He's like, you have no idea what just happened last night. And he ends up telling Thayer everything. And he's like, what do we do? Like, what do we do about this? And Thayer's like, I literally don't know. Like, this is insane. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, how do you punish that many people? It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Thayer ends up launching an investigation over the next few weeks where they're like talking to different people, figuring out who was involved. And out of 260 cadets, there were about 90 that were involved in the Eggnog Riot.
Okay.
So now they're putting their heads together and they're like, holy shit, okay, we can't expel a third of the student population.
Yeah, you'd have no money.
Yeah, like this is really bad.
Yeah.
So they decide to just find like the first like really bad 20 or so guys.
Yeah, because you also can't punish nobody.
Right. You have to do something.
You got to find a scapegoat.
So they're like, let's get like 20 of the worst ones, right? The worst offenders.
No, that makes sense.
So they ended up court-martialing about 19 cadets in total, only 9 of which were actually expelled.
Okay.
Once again, Jefferson Davis, he got out scot-free because he went to bed.
I need the timeline where he was murdered.
Well, I don't have that for you.
I was going to say, actually, never mind, because they put such a fucking loser in charge. That's probably why they lost.
Do you know who else was involved in this?
Who?
You might have heard his name, Robert E. Lee.
the other guy.
But he got out scot-free too because he also went to bed.
So you know what? Actually, like it probably helped us because they were like, all right, who can beat this doofus? And they said Robert E. Lee. Okay.
Yeah, they were both in this eggnog riot.
That's actually insane.
Isn't that funny?
I mean, I guess that is why they talk about like how the Civil War was like brother against brother, friend against friend, because like it literally was. It was like people who like literally have known each other forever.
Edgar Allan Poe was also a West Point cadet. Yeah, I know. And
that emo bitch.
Well, okay, he was a West Point cadet, and he frequented Benny Havens like all the time, and then he got kicked out of West Point like a year later because he was an alcoholic.
He's just like me for real.
Yeah, so like it's crazy how many like famous names were actually in this. It's really crazy.
That is very funny. Yes.
So today at West Point, alcohol can only be served at specific events, and you do have to be like a little higher up in the ranks to enjoy the alcohol.
Which I think is fine because I think probably also there's like 18-year-olds there and now there's drinking ages.
Once again, yes, you have to be at least 21 and you have to have completed the birthday training course before you are able to consume any alcohol.
And that's
on
where
campus.
they just get you really, really drunk and they see if you cry at your 21st.
Is that really what happens?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. I believed you. See how much of a fucking naive bitch I am? Sorry. I believed you. And I Googled this too and I still believed you.
Sorry. We literally just talked about crying on your 21st birthday on a Patreon episode. That's why. If you're on Patreon, you know.
But that is the West Point Eggnog Riot of 1826. You're welcome, everybody.
Incredible. 10 out of 10. Couldn't ask for more. I'm feeling festive as fuck.
And I can't wait to have some eggnog.
It made me thirsty. I think I need some eggnog tonight, maybe. That was great. Holy shit. We got everything. We had drunk people. We had history. We had random acts of violence. We had college kids acting a fool. Literally, once again, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
This club has everything. You know? Stefan.
Yes. Yeah. That was good.
That was one of those kind of stories, which I love those stories.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I felt good about it.
That was a really fun one. Yeah, I'm glad. That was good. I'm feeling whimsical.
I am too.
I don't know what's happening. I think it's the holiday spirit.
I don't know. I'm feeling wicked.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm feeling far too whimsical right now. I like can't help myself.
You never know what can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can
happen. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I very much enjoyed that.
Good,
and
thank you.
What a wild ride we just encountered.
I know.
The only thing that was missing, zombies.
Well, thank God you had some zombies.
Yeah, zombie. A, as some would say. Sinead, we miss you. Okay. How about we round this out with a listener story?
Yes, we are crazy today.
Okay. So let's do a listener story. Let me put my glasses back on so I can read. Do you see my old woman?
I do. It's
how giant it is. It's bright and it's huge.
Your fucking font size on your screen is so large. I could probably read it from here.
Well, don't. Spoiler alert. This is from Amber.
Hi, Amber.
And Amber says, "Hey, ladies. In light of a recent dream episode I listened to, I wanted to share a very touching dream I had a while back after my uncle passed away."
Oh, no.
I'm sorry if you cry, Amanda.
I will. I already am.
Yeah. She's already started. Start those engines. So my uncle had a liver transplant about 15 years ago. And although he was doing fine afterwards, about 11 years later, his body started to reject it. He had been in and out of the hospital for years, but always managed to have a smile on his face no matter how much pain he was in. On July 23rd, 2021, my uncle passed away. And although we knew it was coming, it was still very hard. A few months went by and I had a dream, and in this dream, I was waiting in line to greet someone. It looked like it was my uncle's backyard, only everything was very bright and extremely peaceful. When I finally got to the front of the line, I saw my uncle. He looked like he did when he was young and healthy. I told him, "I haven't seen you in such a long time." And he said, "What?" And I repeated it, and he wasn't understanding. So I just asked, "How are you?" And he told me, I'm okay. And when I tell you that I woke up with literal tears streaming down my face, I feel like that was his way of telling me that he was fine and not to worry about him. I think about that all of the time. I also feel like a lot of my loved ones communicate with me through my dreams. But I really wanted to share this story with you guys. If I have any more crazy dreams, which I'm sure I will be sure to send them your way. Congrats on 200 episodes.
Oh.
Thank you for creating an awesome platform for all of us weirdos. Amber. That was sweet.
That was really sweet.
I love the I'm okay or like I'm happy, I'm safe dreams from relatives.
I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that has to be like a visitation.
Well, you know, because I've told you, I'm not going to share the details just because it's really personal and like fresh for me for a lot of these, but like I had 2 dreams recently, which I thought were visitation dreams, where, because I'm one of those people, I usually can figure out that I'm dreaming, and I did figure out I was dreaming in them, and I kept being like, I'm dreaming, this is so weird. And the people, it was 2 separate people I know who are no longer with us, and the people both were like, if you think you're dreaming, you need to wake up.
Yeah.
And like saying things to me that were very weird and personal and just very bizarre. I've never had anything like that. I've never had a visitation dream like that before.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, when I hear these now, even more so now, I'm like, oh yeah, that it has to be.
I've never had like a visitation dream where someone is directly saying that kind of stuff to me, but I've had dreams with loved ones that have been deceased for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Where like weird things happen.
Yeah.
That I never dreamt about them before. So I'm like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like any time that happens, like it's your loved one trying to communicate somehow.
Yeah. Trying to give something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think having that so blatant where he's like, I'm okay is so,
and saying like, I haven't seen you in so long, and then being like, what are you talking about? Because guess what? They're in forever, and forever is way longer than however long.
I just feel like that is so, you're so lucky to have that.
Yeah.
And to have like, it's, I don't know, it's just so clear to me that they're trying to tell you something.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, what a blessing.
Yeah.
I also just think about how many people have dreams that don't ever remember them. And I'm like, I wonder how many you've missed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. If you have a story you would like to share, you can do that at dtkpod.com/contact. You can send in any sort of listener story or anything like that. If you're a cool kid, make sure you send it on Patreon. We do like boost your guys' stuff closer to the top. And we just really appreciate you guys sharing your stories with us. And we hope you know that we think you're weirdos, but in the best way.
We do.
Yeah.
We love a weirdo.
We love a weirdo. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said, if you're looking to gift someone or want a gift of a Patreon membership, you can do that at dtkpod.com/support or at patreon.com/drinkingthekool-aid. You'll find all, like, I'm not kidding, hundreds of hours of bonus content on there. And you literally get bonus content at every single tier. We don't do that bullshit where we're like, oh, just get ad free. Like, no, if you join at $2, you literally get bonus content and you get stuff and you will like it, I promise. So make sure you go check that out. If you cannot do that, make sure you give us a 5-star review wherever you listen, or wherever you don't listen. That's even better, because maybe you've already done it where you listen. But either way, we're just happy to have you here, and we totally dig you.
We do.
Yeah.
And we are ending this year right with you guys.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
But most importantly, make sure you keep that front door locked.
Make sure you keep your mind open
and keep drinking the Kool-Aid.